our guests today for the final concert in the Vancouver Classical Guitar Society's 2024 and 2025 concert season are the incredible Marie-Noelle Choquette and Charles Hobson from duo Beija Flor. And I actually lived in Montreal, where the duo is based, to do my master's degree, and I studied with Daniel Bolshoi, who is Charles' guitar teacher, so it's a really small world. And I'm really excited to chat with the two of you today and to hear all about your interesting and unique takes on modern classical music. So, like I mentioned, the duo is based in Montreal, and they've performed all across Canada, the United States, and South America. To date, they've released 3 critically acclaimed albums, Envol, Musica, and Costas, and they've received countless awards for their music from both Canadian and international institutions. Their program for this April 19th concert is Musings from Elsewhere, Music from Parallel Visions, and it includes works by composers from all around the world, big names such as Brouwer, Ravel, Piazzolla, Bartok, Boccherini, and even the Canadian composer Patrick Roux, as well as several others from all countries and all time periods. So it'll be an amazing concert, and you can get your tickets at vancouverguitar.org, so come check it out either in person or on the live stream. So, with the blurb out of the way, let's start the interview. Are you ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, great. So let's start with some easy questions. How did the two of you meet, and what led to the creation of your guitar and flute duo?
Sure. Go
Well,
ahead.
we met in while doing a graduate diploma in Concordia, Montreal, Concordia University. And actually, it was kind of funny because I was really into contemporary music at that time. And I just received a piece that I wanted to play from a Mexican composer on a fax paper, which was all rolled up. And it was with so many different extended techniques. So everything was written so weirdly. I had to re-put all the lines and everything. And nobody wanted to play it because it seemed too hard. And Charles accepted to play.
Very brave.
So that's how we met, and we actually played it. It was really fun, and then we really had a lot of fun. And my roommate was going out of my apartment, so I needed a new roommate. I knew he was paying way too much downtown, so I offered him if he wanted to be my roommate, and we just continued playing music together afterwards.
Great. And what's the significance behind the name Duo Beija Flor? Why did you choose this name for your ensemble?
Sure. Well, Beija Flor means hummingbird in Brazilian Portuguese. So it's really poetic, the name. Beija means to kiss, and Flor, flower. So it's the bird that kisses flowers. And we thought it was a great name, first off, because we started playing like a bunch of like ambience music gigs, like a lot of musicians do when they're fresh out of school to make ends meet. And we were doing a lot of Jobim and other like Brazilian jazz kind of tunes. So we're like, well, let's come up with a Brazilian name. And after time, we started to think, if we're gonna start a real duo, what kind of theme should we have? And we both really like playing world-inspired music. So we thought the name, the hummingbird-inspired name was perfect because it's like our duo goes from each culture, tasting just a little bit. We never play just tango. We don't just play bossa. We'll play a little bit of everything, which is what we're going to present for you guys. It's like a world garden for our little hummingbird.
And also, I did a big travel in Brazil right before meeting Charles.
Okay.
So I was really into Brazilian stuff, and that's how he learned that hummingbird in Brazilian Portuguese was Beija Flor. So I think all this fit together.
Great. You've mentioned quite a few different genres. What would you say some of your biggest personal musical influences are, either personally or in how you've shaped your duet?
Ooh,
That's hard. There's
you,
so
you,
many.
you said it was easy questions to start. That's a harder one.
The easy ones are done now.
Oh, okay. Without warning. I don't know. Like, I guess personally, I have a huge background in all kinds of styles. Like a lot of guitarists. Like, I even noticed you have like a steel string acoustic behind you. Like, I started as an electric guitar player. I played in any band I could possibly play in, from bluegrass bands to a hip hop band to a metal band. So I've always loved every style of music. And one thing that I kind of liked of every style was a little the bands or groups that had a little bit of a world influence. So like I don't know, I really loved Mr. Bungle. I still love Mr. Bungle, but they have all kinds of world influence within the chaos of their music that I always was more attached to, and I think it just came quite natural to want to play world-inspired classical music. It's not something I don't think either one has really thought about. It just that's what we always chose.
Yeah, and me too. When I was doing my bachelor's, I was all into Bartok pieces or some influence by Jewish traditional music or all composers. And I was playing in a band, playing kind of gypsy, folk, Irish mixed. And I love to travel. I traveled a lot. And yeah, I think music is a maybe it's easy to say now since it's been a while we were doing
Hmm.
that rep, but I think it makes us travel through music and it make us realize that everywhere there's music that grooves, that there's music that make you cry, and they all have so much in common. So I think it's really great to explore all those styles. But I like to do it in a classical way because somehow I have some challenges, technique challenges as a musician, and it's maybe a refined way of presenting all those different or making it a blending together better way to present all those cultures.
Hmm. Hmm. Mm. So you play a lot of classical and modern contemporary in your concerts. Do you do a lot of listening to non-classical music in your spare time nowadays?
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
like
lot.
all the time. Yeah, I think beyond our enormous classical music CD or well, we sound old. Our CD and vinyl collection. There's a lot of like tango music and
Hmm.
bossa nova and all kinds of music from around.
Eastern European music
Yeah,
bands and yeah, pretty much from everywhere. I think.
and I think some of our musical taste is based on Montreal.
Mhm.
You having lived here, it's a very multicultural town,
Yeah, for sure.
and like we would go to a club and there'd be the Gitane de Sarajevo who are playing. So like this gypsy group, and then you can go down the street and see a bossa band and play
Or
bossa
an
and choro,
African
and then there's
group
the
Hmm.
or
after the Nuit d'Afrique after that festival. So like it's just a cosmopolitan area. It's an influence on our musical inspirations as well, I think.
yeah.
Hmm. So, what are some of the interesting things about being a flute and classical guitar duo? Maybe some of the challenges or unexpected surprises that you found from this instrumentation.
I think it fits really, really well together.
Mhm.
Somehow, like I feel a bit like a singer with a
Hmm.
pianist because there's like harmony and but also I think if we go back to more folk influences, there's always a wind instrument and a string instrument in every culture,
Hmm.
plucked like in a
Mhm.
string. So I think it makes it really blend together. The sometimes guitar can be kind of quiet for the flute, so but now he has a new awesome guitar with a double top. So
Yeah, that always helps.
this really helps
Hmm.
me not having to hold back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it really fits so well together, those two instruments. I don't have any complaint.
Yeah, me neither. I think it's just they naturally go together. I mean, I don't think it's that weird of a grouping of instruments. Although oddly enough, we get a lot of comments that like, oh,
Mhm.
flute and guitar. I would have never thought of those two instruments together. But
Okay.
to me, it's
Yeah.
supernatural. Like
Hmm.
it's not supernatural in the scary way, but extremely natural.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I think it's quite interesting because they're such almost opposite instruments, like in every single way. But I think that's
Mhm.
part of what makes it fit so well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any examples of how this difference in your instruments has inspired one or the other to try a new approach to one of the pieces that you're playing?
Hmm.
That's a good question.
I think for me personally, because she has her background in contemporary flute, there's a lot of effects that, there's effects for guitar, a lot of extended techniques and stuff.
Hmm.
But I wasn't like too into that stuff before. I was happy enough with the challenge of just trying to coordinate my fingers and make sure the notes don't buzz
Hmm.
without adding all kinds of other effects. But her approach to effects and me hearing what they bring to the music in another dimension makes it so that I have been more willing to explore those kind of extended techniques, and my ears are more open to them.
Hmm.
I think that's one of the things.
Yeah, and maybe the rhythmical aspect of the guitar inspires me more using those percussive extended techniques, maybe, or trying to have a groove more. And I think that's what's, well, I never thought about it, but it's fun that sometimes I am doing more the accompaniment in a rhythmical
True. Yeah.
way, and we kind of exchange our roles in that way. And I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's really fun. And probably his way of playing inspires me doing that, I
Hmm.
think.
and I think that's something we've tried to do in our arrangements. We have a lot of arrangements that we do. Um, Years ago, we went to Argentina to study tango music, and one of the people we studied with is Victor Viadangos, a great guitarist.
Mhm.
He's the guy behind the Naxos guitar music of Argentina. Um, and he was great. He was a great advocate for the guitar because, we brought him this arrangement we did, and he said, "Well, there's no melody for the guitar. Why is the guitar just playing the accompaniment all the time?
Hmm.
It needs its moment too." So that kind of like opened up our minds about
Mhm.
how our instruments can switch roles, and it's not just for
Mhm.
me to, you know, be the guy doing the chords while the flute sings
Mhm.
over me.
Hmm.
We can reverse that, and it creates really interesting textures.
Mhm.
Great. Well, since we're on the topic of arrangements, what has made you guys decide to have such a strong focus on arrangements in your concert programming?
I think it's because of our choice of playing just classical music inspired by folklore.
Hmm.
There's so many music out there, but not that much for flute and guitar. So it kind of forced us to be creative in that sense. Um, and it's really, and I think we really are enjoying it
Oh, of course.
because we are both creative people. So it's really, I love, like, I never really composed from scratch so much, but I really like to add stuff to kind of
Appropriate.
personalize, appropriate the piece,
Hmm.
really, and make it my own way, my own version of it. And I think that's what the main, for in my perspective, it's the main role of an interpreter to find a way to make it personal and present the piece in your own eyes in a way that nobody else has already done. So arranging is really fun for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we both just really enjoy the activity. It's fun, and like she said, sometimes it's hard to find. We have such concrete ideas for our programs. We have an infinite amount of program ideas. We have
Hmm.
a board in one of our offices full of ideas,
Oh wow.
but you can't always find pieces already pre-made for that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And if you can, well, there's a lot of research involved, and you have to find the right thing. And sometimes it's just really hard. And you know of a piece that's not for flute and guitar, but if I arrange that, I think I can make it work.
Hmm.
And we both love that challenge. It's
Hmm.
so fun, and it creates something unique. Like everyone plays Piazzolla's Histoire de Tango, like ourselves, we played that. But if you
Hmm.
want to continue playing Piazzolla and you want to do something a bit different, well, just make your own arrangement. Why not?
Hmm. You mentioned briefly melody and accompaniment and how you swap parts maybe in a way that isn't like the standard of guitar does the chords and flute does the melody. What are some of the other considerations that go through your mind when you're making these arrangements and adapting these pieces?
We, depending on what piece we arrange, but we really like to go find the sonorities of the traditional instruments of the culture we explore. So let's say from Japan, there's like the koto, which is the Japanese harp, and the shinobue, which is the little tiny piccolo Japanese piccolo, which have their own timbre. So this is something we like to inspire ourselves from. Like, obviously, we are not
We're not those instruments.
those instruments, so it's just an inspiration, but it still helps creating different textures. And I think also I really like to, I think that's why I studied contemporary music, because I'm not playing that much in that scene anymore, but I was really attracted to it to explore the different sonorities the flute can make. This is really, it amazed me how many different sounds we can produce. And now I find that, oh, I did that to use it in this type of repertoire I'm exploring with the duo, I think. So I can kind of imitate more the Bensuri bends or something easier because I've explored all those contemporary music. I can add, and it also adds different timbres to what could be really just a plain singing flute with a guitar. I think it creates like some surprises that makes it really interesting from one piece to another to be transported in another place. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think it's important also that we look at the traditional roots of all of these different types of music we're playing. You don't want to just, go over the fact that, okay, it's tango music. All right, it's already written down for me, or I'm going to arrange something without knowing the background and what's in the DNA of that style of music. So I think that's another part of the fun. For me personally, I really like researching that stuff or reaching out. Again, Montreal is a great place. We were able to we did an arrangement of, and we're going to play it for you guys on the 19th. Our arrangement of Bartok's Romanian folk dances. We were able to track down a cymbalum player that lives in Montreal that's directly from Romania.
Wow.
And I took notes, I recorded, I listened back,
we jammed with him.
we
It was
jammed with him.
funny.
It was awesome.
And I went to listen to some whistler from Romania. He had a Romanian whistle playing the reverse wave with his hands. So it was
Yeah, it
kind
was
of
funny.
weird. He didn't read music at all, and he couldn't play slow. So I recorded and tried to pick up all those rhythms, and it really made us look to the music, Bartok's music, in a different way, in a different sense. I think we were probably closer of Bartok when he went in Romania and recorded all those people in the countryside playing
Yeah,
music.
really interesting. So, going to the improvisation side of things, I know that you don't really improvise during your concerts, but do you do a lot of improvising in your own spare time, as maybe as a rehearsal tool or just for fun?
Yeah, and actually we do have moments of improv in our performance.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
They're very short, but well, I'll talk about our performance. So what we've tried to do is break up the traditional 19th century version way of presenting a concert, whereas you play an entire piece, people applaud, and then you play another piece, people applaud. We like to bring the stories because all of this music we're playing is very rich and has a huge history behind it. So we have to present that. And also the guitar, like I said, I played in all kinds of different bands we both played in bands. We want to make it an event, like not just something that's so stiff. So I'll improvise while she's talking to bring in the next piece. And in the particular program we're going to present, we've paired pieces together by the same inspiration. In between, sometimes we don't talk, I'll detune while improvising, just to make it so there's a connection between the two works without having some kind of awkward silence or something in between everything. So those are our moments of improv while we're playing, and I think it's kind of fun because like you get to just let loose and kind of keep in shape too. You don't let all the energy go away. You keep it. But yeah, I think we don't really improv in our practice a lot, but I think we both have a bunch of background in improving. Like,
But some pieces we do, like, but we not really the ones we are presenting in Vancouver, but like the Turkish piece,
oh yeah,
or
that's all improv.
yeah,
Yeah.
Brazilian music also is so influenced by, there's so much jamming in those.
Yeah.
So sometimes we do add little parts of improv. And I think, yeah, sometimes we arrange and to do an intro or something, we'll improv, and at the end, it's
We
not
write it down. Yeah.
improvised anymore. We kind of fix
True.
it,
Mhm.
but it does inspire us.
Yeah, true.
But we don't really, okay, let's jam on this. It just happens. I
Mhm.
think.
Great. So talking about your program, you mentioned some common inspirations and pairings. Could you talk a little bit about that and why you chose these pieces to go together?
Mhm.
Well, I think that Bartok really inspired us because actually Bartok was one of the first ethnomusicologists that in Occidental
In the West.
in the West. Thank you. And when we listened to a gypsy band playing, a Roma band playing his pieces in the folk way, we thought, oh, that's so cool. Because there's like a classical version and a folk version. So we decided that we could maybe find composers that are really close to the folkloric versions and some others that are further, but still got the same inspiration from that culture. So let's say Ravel and habanera, which came from a contradanza from Cuba, actually from, well, this is complicated. It came from England, then France, then Spain, then Cuba, but at the end it's all mixed up. So Ravel had his idea of the music, but we will pair it with a Leo Brouwer typical, inspired by a typical contradanza, and also with Paquito de Rivera, another Cuban, more modern, jazzy version of the contradanza. So it's all those three pieces will go together. Or we have a Japanese piece from Michio Miyagi, which Aru no Umi. It's really famous. It's really pretty traditional Japanese music. And we arranged a piece from Debussy, Pagode, which is inspired by Asia. And we add more Asian influence than Debussy really actually put in. And it was for solo piano. So now it's for alto flute and guitar. So we'll pair those two because it's really an Asian kind of dream together. So those are examples of, and it was really fun to try to tie together the two pieces also with improv and making them blend together. So this was a creative challenge. We kind of.
I think my favorite pairing actually would be Soledad and Soledad. So we have two
Right.
pieces. Soledad. I always joke it's our dads or Soledads, but I think they're really emblematic of the entire program because Patrick Roux's take on Solitude versus Astor Piazzolla's version, they're quite stark in their approach, even though they both come from the same idea, this solitude with a tango kind of idea behind it. I think it's probably the best pairing for showcasing what the program's all about. So we're excited to bring it to you guys.
Is there any particular piece in the program that you felt a really strong connection with while you were working on it or writing it, or anything that just resonates on a personal level?
All of them.
Many.
I think obviously for me, the ones that, I sat down and arranged, I feel like they have my fingerprints on them. And I obviously absorbed them a little bit more. And I have, a personal affection for the tango music, the Soledad, especially the Piazzolla one. Patrick's piece is wonderful and very beautiful, but I didn't arrange that one. So I did
Right.
arrange the other one. So I feel a real personal connection with that.
Yeah, and for me, I think the Asian pieces, I think the flute is so present in the Asian cultures. And I don't know, I was in a band like playing kind of prog rock, and every time I was jamming, I had like some pentatonic ideas or something. So I really enjoy the type of lines and melodies that are, and the flute fits so well to express those. So I think really the two Asian inspired ones are the one I connect the most with.
Great. Could you tell us a little bit more about the Brower piece? It says that it was written for you, so what led to this piece being commissioned?
Sure. Several years ago, we participated in a Banff program called Evolution Classical, which is a great program. I highly recommend it to anyone if it's still going on. I think it is. It's led by the Griffin Trio. The idea behind the program, just this is an aside, but it is to look into how to present concerts in the 21st century. And it goes back a bit to how we're approaching concerts these days. But anyway, as part of that, we were awarded the Leo Brouwer Endowment. And we wrote a letter of thanks to the endowment's curator, and he got in touch with us, letting us know he was touched by our letter and that he has a personal connection with Leo Brouwer. And if we ever wanted to commission a piece, we can get in touch. And we were both like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. But it was true. And we wrote to him, and he offered to, not for free, obviously, but we commissioned the work from him. And as a guitarist, every email I trembled when I was typing, like,
Yes,
he wanted to know what we wanted him to write for us. I was like, I can't, someone pinch me. And we ordered a contradanza, and he delivered a beautiful piece. We're so lucky and happy and excited to show it off. We've only played it on the East Coast so far, you guys are lucky. You're the second coast. We haven't even played it here. So.
Yeah, and surprisingly, he wrote only, I think, 3 other pieces for flute and guitar. So
we're extremely lucky.
Very special.
Yeah.
And it's very Brouwer-esque. There's a little passage that I'm just like, I get giddy when I play it. I'm like, wow, that's my name on it, and it sounds like that. Wow, that's so cool.
And I think he was kind of, because he's pretty old now, so he wrote so many pieces, and he had some phases of more atonal music, and I think he was really touched that we were curious about the Cuban culture and wanted to have something really typically Cuban. So I feel somewhere that he really was happy to write the piece. Like, he was touched that it was, oh, cool, you're interested in our culture. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great. We're so lucky.
So I'm curious about this board you have in your office. It seems like you do a lot of research on your music, and you care very, very deeply about the pieces you play. So what kind of other things have you considered maybe that didn't make it into this program that you're playing?
Oh, man.
The world is so big and so inspiring. And the more we discover, the more we're like, oh, we should do this. But
I think the one that I'm curious to work on more is we have an idea for islands. Music from islands all over the place. It could be music from Montreal, it's an island, or we can go with Corsica. I don't know.
And it's so interesting, all the explorers that went to the different islands in all over the world. So there's like Portuguese influences in Africa, or like in Asia, that's, I think, something that's really interesting.
There's another one that I would love to do is our roots. So a very personal one would be like, we look into our background. My grandmother is really into all of that ancestry stuff. So like, I would love to play a program that is English, Swedish, Canadian, American inspired.
And I have a lot of Irish, French, German in my family, native also a little bit somewhere.
So I think that would be a really cool set. With the Canadian immigrant set.
I really want to do the Halloween set or creepy set for Halloween, but from around the world. There's so many really creepy, like Bogdanovich piece that's really cool, and it's really interesting. So how like creepiness can be expressed in music from all over the world. So every day we have a new idea. But we also want to do because the Canadians are all from different roots. So we would like to have a concert inspired by Le Groupe des Sept, the 7 painters, and maybe different backgrounds that made Canada what it is now too. So Every day we have a new idea.
Like I said, it's got lots of things on it.
Yeah.
Mhm. When you're working on these programs, do you only typically work on one program at a time? So right now for this set, you have your current musings from elsewhere. Would you also be working on a new set of programs simultaneously, or do you just work on this for now and then move on to the next thing when this one has run its course? Or
Yeah,
how do you go about it?
I think we kind of dovetail them. We don't really work on multiple new ones at the same time, but like our last program, Costas, I think we toured that one for a few years, and eventually you get kind of bored of playing the same pieces, even if
Hmm.
they're fantastic. You're just like, this again, all right. So you're always looking for something new, but it's always at the end of the last program.
Hmm.
So we're still within our honeymoon phase with this program. So even though we have that board, nothing's concrete yet. There's no pieces going in
Hmm.
my fingers. Although
But
they're always in the back of my head, I
yeah,
suppose.
but sometimes there are pieces one piece we play on the side, and
Yeah,
finally
that finds its
it's
way.
not selected,
Yeah, true.
but it inspires something else, and
Hmm.
it yeah,
Very
Yeah.
nothing's
natural course of
planned so
evolution.
much.
Okay, so moving on to a completely different set of questions, maybe more about the globalization and classical music's place. What's your sense of the current Canadian classical music scene?
Oh, I think it's vibrant.
Hmm.
We've been lucky enough to tour around, and I'm always surprised at what point there are so many little festivals and presenters in these like little towns that don't have they have like 1,000 people, but they'll have
Hmm.
a crazy classical music festival, and it's well attended.
Hmm.
I think that's a really great sign of a healthy art scene. And you read all these doom and gloom articles about classical music dying out. I think we've been reading these articles for the last 50 years,
Hmm.
uh, but it's still
Still
going
not
strong, right?
dead.
Hmm.
I think that's one thing that we can look to, and it could be as a reflection of the kind of artists and the kind of composers we have in this country.
Hmm.
And again, with that BAMF program that we did these years ago, we were able to talk with like different composers and other musicians that were super inspired and made us extremely inspired too. So I think, yeah, the art scene in Canada is very vibrant and flourishing.
Yeah, and I think it evolves also in a positive way, like making it less snub or something to go to a concert.
Hmm.
People are more and more inclined to talk to the public and to add visuals. Or I
Hmm.
think we're more and more creative in presenting our art, and I think that's what's needed for it to stay healthy and interest people. Everybody, yeah, we need images, either like something in your face or something to think of, or we're so bombarded with images, informations all the time. So I think classical music needs to follow a bit that. At the same
Hmm.
time, it's something that probably gives a moment of, yeah, so good to be quiet and to be
Hmm.
in yourself, and yeah, a little break in all this running around. So I think a balance, but I think, yeah, we have so many great artists all over.
Hmm. You've mentioned that your music has something of a modern twist to it. Do you think that it's necessary for artists to have some kind of catching point like that nowadays? Some kind of twist to the typical classical tradition?
I think it helps for sure because, with anything, you have to have a bit of your little personal touch that makes you unique or stand out from the crowd. Um, I mean, you don't want to do it to be cheap or anything, but
Hmm.
I think it's important to bring your own personality to things, and everyone's unique. No one's the same as I'm not the same as anyone else, even if, you play guitar, we're not the same
Hmm.
person, even though we have a lot of same of the same background, same teachers and whatnot. But yeah, I think it's important, and I think it's just healthy to do that. If you're gonna just do the same thing everyone else is doing, okay,
Mhm.
cool, but like, where's your personality in that?
Yeah, and maybe it's in a, adding some contemporary ideas or not at all. Maybe it's to be completely pure but in a different way. Like I really love Baroque music a lot, and I think there's so many awesome things that are going on in that scene too. And it can still be really kind of not conservative,
But
but
traditional. Yeah.
traditional, yeah, and still be creative and be unique in your own color. But I think the secret is to have your own,
Add your personality
yeah.
to what you're doing. I mean, we're artists. That's part of the job, I
If
find.
not, AI could do
That's
everything, and we
right.
don't want that.
Did you always have your personality as part of your music, or was it more of a process that came over and over with time as you got more experience and you got further and further into your artistry?
Mhm.
I think I always did. I'm really stubborn person, and I know that I was really, my teachers were trying to make me fit in that square box, and it
Yeah,
didn't work at
no.
all. And I first I wasn't really, I thought it was a defect of me or something. I was really not, I was just, oh my God, I can't be happy being who I am. But nowadays I'm really excited about it actually. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Now I look at my younger self and I'm
Hmm.
like
Good for
happy
you.
I
Good job.
was. Yeah, good job. But good job to have held to it too
Hmm.
also. But because I think it's harder, like it's easier to follow a path already written and just do the same, present this sonata in the same way everybody did. But I think the more nourishing way is to find your own version. Even if it's harder and it demands, like you may receive critiques and people probably or maybe will love it or not.
Hmm.
But I think we all have our little secret spice that we need to discover, and it's our secret, like it's our superpower, I think,
Hmm.
at the end. Now
Yeah.
I can say that.
For me, it was kind of a roller coaster. I'd say when I first started playing music, not classical guitar, but music, I tried to imitate my favorite guitarist. And then once I got into bands and I was writing my own music, well, then I wanted my own voice. But then I went to school for classical guitar and it was a new world for me. And I felt really, like a fish out of water. So I think I tried to conform as best as possible to learn the style and to kind of feel things out because it was
Hmm.
so different from me. I grew up not even knowing that classical guitar existed. I played guitar from age 8 to 19 without any knowledge of Segovia or
Hmm.
John Williams or anything. I had no idea any of that existed. So when I first started, I think my reflex was just to kind of blend in and kind of feel things out and see what everyone else is doing and how it works. But with time, that old rocker in me came back out, and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, well, I can tap on the guitar during this piece. No one's gonna kill me for that. I can
Yeah.
do what I want. I can do a rubato here, sure, whatever.
Hmm.
No one's gonna get mad at me. And I think that's also with age, right?
Mhm.
When you're young, you're self-conscious and you just
Hmm.
want to stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking to get in trouble, so
That's right.
I try to be as I have a personality when I play anyway.
Hmm. Awesome. And are there any spaces in the classical world that you would like to see filled? Maybe that like you haven't done yourself or that you haven't seen before? Just some niche that you would just love to have seen occupied by somebody?
Oof. Yeah, I don't know. I think, classical music is very open these days. I mean, people are doing things with electronics. Probably you knew Emmanuel Nagil, who was doing
Yep.
his doctorate on electric guitar and
Hmm.
loop pedals and all this stuff.
Yep.
To me, it kind of blew my mind to know that that was going on because, again, I was back playing with my electric guitar with my distortion pedals and
Hmm.
flanger and stuff. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's too much that isn't being done that I would be curious that needs to be fulfilled. Even just what blew my mind is when I first came to Montreal and I saw Marie-Noelle's first performance. She had contemporary dancers for certain pieces. She had video. You had you've played with band. you played with a string quartet, you played with guitar and had like visual effects. That blew my mind. I was a very sheltered guy. I was just in my rock world. But I think that, again, that comes back to what's going on in the classical music scene today. I think so many creative people are there that I can't even imagine what needs to be fulfilled.
Yeah, and I think it's always been like that somehow. Like if we think of the classical era, the Baroque era, music was everywhere. There was no radios or like
Hmm.
so. I think music should be everywhere, anywhere, and I think it shouldn't be such framed in a concert where nobody has the right to move and talk or
Hmm.
know when to applause. Like you shouldn't have to learn how to listen to classical music. I think it's just
Mhm.
music. It's
Hmm.
just so anywhere where there could be music.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
brings up a good point, actually. I guess one thing that you could talk about is exploring unconventional concert spaces,
Hmm.
finding interesting places to play. We went to a concert once in Montreal that was held at a bike repair shop. It was
Oh,
a classical
interesting.
music concert, and it was cool. Like you just had the bikes hanging around. It created like a cool ambiance
Decor. Yeah.
that I would have never thought about. And I think that could be one of the new frontiers because again, we've been exploring sounds for a long time
Hmm.
and different ways of presenting music in a traditional program like in a concert hall, but to go to these weird, unthought of places for a concert venue, I think is something cool.
Yeah, and we played Esqualo, but we arranged Esqualo from Piazzolla, which means shark, and we never did it, but I still dream of playing it in Quebec's aquarium because there's a
Yeah,
whole
that'd be great.
wall of water with fish,
Yeah,
and
it would be so awesome.
that would be so awesome to have a concert there. Maybe that's a new idea, all fish or animal inspired program.
There you
That would
go.
be really cool.
Add it to the board.
In
We
a
have a
zoo.
viewer comment that says they would have loved that because they could get their mountain bike service while listening to your concert.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they'd have to be discreet, right?
Yeah.
You don't want any
Yeah,
grinder
that's right.
going on.
Well, I think it's great to leave it up to the viewer questions now, if you
Sure.
guys are right with that. So, any viewers in the chat, if you have any questions for Duo Beija Flor, now would be the time. I see one wondering what you think about Cajun music.
Oh, Cajun music.
Hmm.
I grew up going to the Jazz Fest in Indianapolis, where I'm from, and I always loved the Zydeco bands that would come and play. And I think that would be really cool thing to explore,
Yeah.
because there's always a percussive element with like
Hmm.
the washboard, whatever you call that, a washboard thing,
Percussion, yeah.
and I could see elements of like strumming, muted
Hmm.
strings, and it's such a joyous music as well. I think
Yeah,
the accordion, and yeah, I would love to do a piece. And there's obviously the connection with the French culture here
of
and there.
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And also we thought of maybe doing in a classical program that would be inspired by all American music, so maybe inspired by heavy metal or
Ooh.
whatever, like all the different kind of pop music that could be really inspiring. So Zydeco could be
It would be
part of that
perfect.
America tour of North
Hmm.
America tour. Yeah.
Okay. Question: I play classical guitar. My brother plays flute. How do I make him play with me?
Oh, that might be something to ask your parents. I don't know. I think if you come up with, I don't know what your brother's taste is, but you find something in their taste that's easy to play, and you don't have to work on too much because that could create friction. Having a
Yeah.
brother myself.
But I would say maybe like some Irish jigs or rills would be a good starter because it's really easy on the flute. There's chords,
Basic
so
chords.
basic chords, so it can blend really well and it's easy to read and just jam over. Or yeah, some Brazilian music also could be cool.
Yeah, I think it just depends on their taste, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Great. What are your thoughts on performing chamber versus solo music?
Hmm.
Hmm. I love playing solo and I love
Ouch.
playing chamber. I don't really enjoy playing in big ensembles.
Hmm.
So, but I think it's different challenges. Like when I love to play with, because my instrument is not harmonic, so of course it sometimes can lack a groove or depth. I think when I'm just playing solo, but I find it stressful sometimes to play with someone. If I miss, will he miss? Will I make him miss or something? And then when I'm alone, I know I can do something and deal with my own whatever. So, but yeah, I really enjoy both in a different way.
Yeah, I'm gonna be cheap too and say I enjoy both. Um, something, we go to school and you have to do your solo concert, and then like chamber music is usually a second thought. At least it was for me when I was in
Yeah.
school, because I was so focused on memorizing my hour-long concert and then that little chamber music thing. So when I was in school, it was a bit of an annoyance, but it was once I got out of school that I really learned to love it. I love playing in groups. I play with Marie-Noelle, but I also play in the guitar ensemble Forestari, which is an ensemble of 12 classical guitarists.
Wow.
It's some of the most fun times to play ever. We finally are loud. We're still not that loud, but times 12, it's pretty good. And the possibilities that it offers. Sometimes we play, extended quartets, so we're like, three guitarists playing the same part. But other times we'll have arrangements where it's 12 individual parts, and it's really fun. The challenge of interlocking or playing off each other. Yeah, I love playing chamber music. I have a sort of new love for it.
Great. What's your experience with commissioning and performing new works?
We've commissioned several composers. We have a piece by one of our former professors, Radi Elias, who is a fabulous composer and jazz guitarist. He plays classical and jazz. He has his degrees in classical composition. And who else?
Carmen Braden.
Carmen Braden wrote us a piece in 2020 that was based on the pandemic. That was actually a really cool piece. It was
so
called
interesting.
The Culture of Isolation. So she played off of the kind of music we play, but it wasn't based on any particular culture, which I found really a smart idea, actually. The culture was a shared worldwide global culture of being alone and just talking to each other like we're doing now via screen. And the idea is that we weren't supposed to hear each other practice. And the first time we heard each other's part was when we performed it for the first time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and we had to play with timers. Like we had,
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what the time limits were, but in the end, it was a 5 minute long piece. That was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
And
very
I think it's
interesting.
always interesting to have commissions, but at the same time, it can be scary because you don't know what the composer will write, and I'm always worried, like, oh my God, if I don't like it, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
I'll still have
Yeah,
to
true.
play it. For now, I'm glad we always liked it. I
Yeah,
did.
we're at 100% so far.
But
good.
yeah, I think it's and also since I played a lot of contemporary music, I'm always afraid the composer will be really rigid in the way I play the piece, and this is something I'm not like. I like to really appropriate myself the piece, so sometimes it stresses me. Let's say Brower didn't hear yet how we play,
Yeah.
so
We haven't sent him the recording. He's very trusting of us, but I'm sure
yeah,
he doesn't think about us too much. But yeah, like you're obviously you want to make the composer happy, but you also want to make yourself happy, right? It's
yeah.
it's our piece when it's commissioned, right? So we have to add our personality to it, but you know how it can be. Like
To
everyone
that
has their
point,
vision.
yeah.
Since both of you are so individual and have so much personality, do you ever have any creative differences when you're working on your arrangements or interpretations?
Never. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a healthy thing though.
Yeah.
Because if we were just of one mind, where would we go? Like to help a piece grow, you have to have different. I think it's important to have a difference of opinion, even if you're doing a solo piece, to at least try out the opposite of what you immediately think. You
Yeah.
think, I should play this more tasto, or I should try the opposite just to see what it gives, and you might be surprised. So I think nothing ever gets too personal. Like
No.
there's never been any like fights about it or anything, but there's Marie-Noelle's stubborn, and I'm usually pretty good at letting go. So
But if you convince me, I'm convincible.
yeah. She
Yeah.
says, convince me if you want. I have to do my homework.
Okay, maybe one final viewer question. How do you structure your rehearsals as a duo? Do you have some kind of typical routine that you do, or just as it goes?
It's too hard to have a typical routine since we both teach a little bit, like we have gigs on our own. So we tried to have regular rehearsals, but since we're a couple, we live together, it's easy to catch each other once in a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, nothing's planned ahead like multiple weeks ahead. It's usually the week before, like, okay, I have some time on Tuesday afternoon. We should look at this piece of that
if we
piece.
have a tour or like important concerts, we organize the few weeks before just to be certain we'll have enough time to rehearse together.
But yeah,
But
but it's rather flexible. Again, we live together, so it makes things a lot easier. I don't have to send out a doodle or something like that.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much for the interview. So once again, April 19th at 7 p.m., the Pied Hall in downtown Vancouver to catch Duo Beija Flor. It's going to be an amazing concert. I'm very much looking forward to it. So head to vancouverguitar.org to get your tickets to the event or the live stream. And once again, it's our final concert of the 2024-2025 concert series. So absolutely don't miss it. And you can stay tuned for next year's concert season coming soon. So once again, really thank you for the interview.
Yeah,
it's been
thank you
great,
for having
and I
us.
look forward to seeing you on the 19th.
yeah, we do too.
Okay, well, take care.
Take care.